AITA for refusing to be a bridesmaid for my childhood best friend, because she didn't choose me as maid of honor. This happened over the last few months, but I'm still getting text messages from mutual friends telling me I need to apologize. I figured some outside perspective might help me figure out if I really am the asshole here. For context, I, 28F, and Melissa, 28F, have been best friends since we were 5 years old. We grew up next door to each other, went to the same schools, and were inseparable throughout our childhood and teenage years. We were those friends who everyone knew came as a package deal. We planned our futures together, supported each other through first breakups, family problems, college applications, everything. When my dad died during our junior year of college, Melissa drove 6 hours in the middle of the night to be with me. When her mom was diagnosed with breast cancer our senior year, I took notes in her classes and helped her study so she could spend weekends at home. After college, we both moved to different cities for work, but we've always maintained our friendship. We talk at least once a week, visit each other a few times a year, and have remained important parts of each other's lives. Throughout our 20s, we've always said, "When I get married, you'll be my maid of honor," to each other. It wasn't even a question, it was just a given. Melissa met her fiancé, Eric, 3 years ago. I was genuinely happy for her because Eric is a great guy and they complement each other well. I've spent holidays with them, gone on double dates when I visit, and have fully welcomed him into our friendship circle. When they got engaged about 8 months ago, I was one of the first people she called. We cried together on the phone, and she said those magic words, "I can't wait for you to stand beside me on my wedding day." Fast forward to 3 months ago. Melissa told me she wanted to meet for lunch during my upcoming visit to her city. I was excited because I thought we'd be discussing wedding details, possibly looking at bridesmaid dresses, etc. We met at our favorite restaurant, and she seemed nervous throughout the meal. Finally, over dessert, she brought up the wedding. She said, "I'm so excited for you to be one of my bridesmaids." I was confused because I had assumed I'd be her maid of honor. When I asked about it, she looked uncomfortable and said she had actually chosen her coworker Brittany to be her maid of honor. For context, Melissa has known Brittany for about 18 months. They work together at the same marketing firm and have become close friends. I've met Brittany twice during my visits, and she seemed nice enough, but I was completely shocked that she would be chosen over me. When I asked why, Melissa gave me what felt like a weak explanation. She said that since Brittany lives in the same city, it would be logistically easier for her to help with wedding planning. She also mentioned that Brittany has been through the wedding planning process recently. She got married last year and would have good insights. But then she added something that really hurt. Plus, Brittany and I have gotten really close. We have a lot in common and just really connect. I'll admit, I didn't handle it well. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. 23 years of friendship, and I was being sidelined for someone she'd known for less than 2 years. I told her I was hurt and asked if I had done something wrong or if our friendship had changed without me realizing it. She insisted that wasn't the case, that our friendship was still important to her, but that she just felt Brittany was the right choice for this particular role. I excused myself to go to the bathroom, where I cried for about 10 minutes. When I came back, I told Melissa I needed time to process this. She seemed upset but understood. I went back to my hotel and spent the night crying and going through old photos of us together, trying to understand where things had gone wrong. The next morning, after thinking about it all night, I called Melissa and told her that I couldn't be a bridesmaid in her wedding. I explained that it would be too painful to stand there as just another bridesmaid while watching someone who'd been in her life for such a short time have the role that we had always talked about me having. I told her I would still attend the wedding as a guest because I love her and want to support her, but I couldn't pretend to be okay with being demoted from what we had always planned. Melissa got upset and accused me of making her wedding about myself. She said I was being childish and that a real friend would support her choices. She then said something that really stung. "This is exactly why I chose Brittany. She supports me unconditionally without making everything about herself." That hurt because I've spent decades supporting her through everything. I told her I needed space and ended the call. Since then, I've received texts from mutual friends saying I'm being petty and that I should just accept being a bridesmaid. Some have even suggested that my refusal proves I was never a good friend to begin with, which feels incredibly unfair. I've also received a long email from Melissa saying that my behavior confirms she made the right choice in picking Brittany, who has been nothing but supportive and drama-free throughout this process. She said my response shows I care more about titles than about her happiness. Part of me wonders if I am being unreasonable. Maybe I am making this about myself when it should be about her. But another part of me feels genuinely hurt that our decades-long friendship seems to be valued less than her new friendship with Brittany, AITA for refusing to be a bridesmaid after not being chosen as maid of honor. Edit 1. Additional context. Wow, I didn't expect this to blow up overnight. Thank you all for your perspectives. I want to clarify a few things based on the questions in the comments. Melissa and I have explicitly talked about being each other's MOHs numerous times over the years. This wasn't just my assumption. We've literally said to each other, "When I get married, you'll be my maid of honor," multiple times, including as recently as last Christmas. I've never been difficult or demanding as a friend. I've always been there for Melissa, even while living in different cities. I've flown to her city on short notice when she had her appendix removed last year. I've helped her move apartments twice, and I've been her emotional support through multiple breakups and career challenges. To the people asking if there might be something I did wrong that I'm not sharing, I've genuinely reflected on this and can't think of anything. Our friendship seemed completely normal up until this point. We've had minor disagreements over the years like any friends do, but nothing significant and certainly nothing unresolved. To address the logistical concerns, I had already told Melissa that I would take time off work for dress fittings, bridal showers, etc. I'm financially stable and had budgeted for multiple trips to her city for wedding preparations. I made it clear I was 100% committed to fulfilling all MOH duties despite the distance. I've never met her fiancé's family or Brittany's husband, so I don't think this is about creating connections between the families. Edit 2. An important update. I just got off the phone with Melissa's sister, Amanda. She reached out to me after seeing me post on social media, not about this situation, just a general sad post. We've always been friendly, and she was concerned. I ended up telling her what happened, and her response was unexpected. Apparently, Brittany had been pushing for the MOH role almost from the moment Melissa got engaged. According to Amanda, Brittany has been making comments like, "As your work bestie, I can't wait to be by your side through this whole process. And I'm already looking at MOH dresses." Amanda said that Brittany has also been somewhat dismissive of Melissa's childhood friends, her words, suggesting that adult friendships are more meaningful. She's apparently made several comments about how people grow apart from their childhood friends and that adult friendships are chosen, not circumstantial. Amanda thinks Melissa gave in to Brittany's hints and pressure because she works with her every day and wanted to avoid awkwardness. She also mentioned that Brittany has become part of Melissa's daily life in a way that I can't be due to distance, and that Melissa may have been swayed by recency bias. This makes me feel better about my reaction in some ways, but worse about the situation overall. I'm wondering if I should reach out to Melissa again with this new perspective. Edit 3. Another update. After sleeping on it, I decided to text Melissa asking if we could have a calm phone call to discuss things. She agreed. The call was difficult, but productive. I apologized for my immediate reaction at the restaurant, acknowledging that it probably made her uncomfortable. I explained that I was hurt not just by the decision itself, but by the way it was presented, as if our decades-long friendship was somehow less valid than her newer one. Melissa got emotional and admitted that Brittany had been dropping heavy hints about wanting to be MOH. She said she felt caught between making me happy and keeping peace at work, where she spends 40-plus hours a week with Brittany. She also confessed that Brittany had organized a surprise engagement party for her, which made her feel obligated. I asked if she truly wanted Brittany as her MOH or if she felt pressured. She hesitated, then said, "I don't know anymore." That was telling. I told her that I would respect whatever decision she truly wanted to make, but that she shouldn't let someone else's expectations dictate her wedding choices. I also said that if she genuinely felt closer to Brittany now, I would try to accept that, painful as it might be. We ended the call on better terms, with her saying she needed to think about things. I feel a bit better having had an honest conversation, but I'm still not sure if I should accept being just a bridesmaid if she sticks with her decision. The wedding is still 6 months away. Edit for 4. The final update. It's been a week since my last update, and a lot has happened. Melissa asked me to meet her for coffee, so I drove to her city yesterday. When we met, she looked exhausted. She told me that after our last conversation, she did some serious thinking about her friendship with Brittany. She realized that while they've become close, Brittany has a tendency to be possessive and somewhat manipulative. She said she started noticing how Brittany would make subtle digs at her other friendships and try to position herself as Melissa's best friend. The breaking point came when Melissa mentioned to Brittany that she was reconsidering the MOH decision. Apparently, Brittany reacted very poorly, saying things like, "I've already bought my MOH dress, and I've told everyone at work about this." Melissa said it made her realize she'd been manipulated. She apologized to me profusely, saying she let workplace politics and Brittany's pressure cloud her judgment. She asked if I would reconsider being her MOH after all. I was touched by her honesty and willingness to recognize what had happened. We spent hours talking about our friendship, how we can better communicate in the future, and how we shouldn't let new relationships threaten what we've built over decades. I've accepted the MOH role, and we're both excited to move forward. Melissa said she still wants Brittany to be a bridesmaid to keep the peace at work, and I understand that decision. I've promised to be extra welcoming to her to avoid any awkwardness. To those who said I was being petty or making it about myself, maybe I was at first, and I've apologized to Melissa for that. But I also think it's important to be honest about your feelings in friendships, especially ones that span most of your life. Thank you all for your advice and perspectives. This has been a learning experience for both of us, and I think our friendship will actually be stronger for having worked through this rough patch together. AITA. In the end, I don't think either of us was the asshole. We both made mistakes in how we handled things, but we found our way back to what matters: our friendship. Final update, 2 weeks later. For those asking for closure, the wedding planning is now in full swing, and things are going well. Brittany was initially cold to me at the first bridesmaid gathering, but has been professional. She did decline being a bridesmaid, saying she didn't want to cause any more drama, but is still attending the wedding. Melissa and I have had several honest conversations about how we drifted a bit over the past year and how we can maintain our friendship despite the distance. We've started a weekly video call tradition and are planning a Just Us weekend getaway after the honeymoon. Sometimes friendship hurdles, painful as they are in the moment, end up strengthening the relationship in the long run. I'm grateful we didn't let this situation permanently damage what we've built over 23 years. Thanks again for all your insights, Reddit. You helped me navigate a difficult situation with more grace than I might have otherwise.